One of the most profound questions we can ask is, how do we find ourselves? In a world overflowing with information, distractions, and prepackaged ideals, discovering who we truly are and what we truly value has become both more difficult and more essential. To explore this question, we turn to the bold, challenging philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche. Widely regarded as a giant in Western thought and a forerunner of existentialism, Nietzsche questioned the deepest assumptions of morality, religion, and identity. Despite controversy surrounding his work, his insights into human nature remain as urgent and relevant today as they were in the 19th century. Nietzsche didn't provide easy answers, but he did leave behind a framework. His writings suggest that finding meaning in life requires courage, radical self-honesty, and a willingness to stand apart from the crowd. Based on his philosophy, here are 4 key steps you can take to discover your true self and begin shaping a life of personal meaning. Nietzsche once wrote, "What we've called universal values, what we've called truth, has always, only ever, been the personal expressions of those who promoted them." At the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy is a rebellion against the herd mentality, a condition in which individuals conform to collective norms without examining their origin or relevance. In society, moral codes, traditions, and cultural expectations often masquerade as absolute truths. But Nietzsche saw these as social constructs designed to control behavior and suppress individuality. Like a herd of animals, society often prizes safety, predictability, and obedience over innovation or dissent. People are rewarded for blending in, not standing out. But while these norms may prevent chaos, they also stifle creativity, self-expression, and spiritual growth. Rigid moral structures, Nietzsche argued, can become oppressive. When enforced too harshly, they trigger rebellion, and not the kind that leads to growth. Instead, they provoke alienation, resentment, and sometimes even destructive behavior. The more dogmatic a society becomes, the more fiercely it punishes those who diverge from its path. This fear of standing out starts early. We absorb it from schools, families, religious institutions, and peer groups. We learn that being different is dangerous, that thinking differently makes us a threat. Over time, we internalize this fear, learning to silence our instincts, shrink our dreams, and abandon our uniqueness for the sake of fitting in. But Nietzsche challenges us to break free. He believed that individuality is a force too powerful to be suppressed, and that the path to meaning begins by questioning the rules you've inherited. This doesn't mean rejecting everything, but rather understanding why you believe what you believe. It's about recognizing when your behaviors are driven by fear or habit instead of truth or desire. It's about identifying those early voices, be they from parents, teachers, or partners, who once told you that your ambitions were unrealistic or your dreams unworthy. Chances are those people were projecting their own insecurities onto you. Their fear was never really about you. It was about what you represented, possibility, freedom, and the courage they never had. To rise above the herd, you must start by silencing those inherited doubts. You must learn to trust your inner compass, even when it leads you away from familiar paths. This journey takes strength. It requires stepping outside of your comfort zone and into the unknown. But Nietzsche assures us this discomfort is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're finally becoming who you truly are. Let go of the urge to conform. Question what you've been told. Abandon the scripts written by others. In doing so, you don't just find yourself, you illuminate a path that others may one day follow. Nietzsche wrote, "No price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself." Modern life is structured for comfort and convenience. We are encouraged to avoid pain, outsource thinking, and pursue ease above all else. But for Nietzsche, that pursuit comes at a cost. We lose ourselves. He believed that true growth begins only when we embrace discomfort, that self-discovery, the journey to knowing who we are, isn't a side project. It is a battle, one that requires discipline, solitude, and sometimes suffering. In his 1873 essay, Schopenhauer as Educator, written at just 29 years old, Nietzsche argued that anyone who wishes to become someone truly unique and fully alive, must be prepared to walk a difficult path. That path often leads to loneliness, misunderstanding, and conflict. Being alone with your thoughts, your fears, and your desires is hard. But that solitude is often necessary to hear your true voice. To own yourself, Nietzsche argued, you must learn to distinguish between what drives you and what enslaves you. Most people are ruled by unconscious impulses, emotional urges, ego reactions, habits inherited from their environment. But the first step toward freedom is awareness. For instance, when you're tempted to lash out, complain, or act from a place of insecurity, Nietzsche would advise you to pause. Ask yourself, what is the root of this reaction? Are you seeking approval, validation, control? This is where Nietzsche's ideas differ from modern self-help. Motivational speakers may encourage you to boost confidence, to achieve wealth or recognition. But Nietzsche challenges you to go deeper. Why do you even want those things? Who are you without them? His philosophy isn't about feeling good, it's about becoming real. Self-mastery, to Nietzsche, means detaching from those unconscious needs. It means you decide what you value, rather than being steered by fear or desire. It means you direct your energy, not the other way around. And make no mistake, this kind of growth often creates conflict. As you evolve, your relationships may shift. You may outgrow friendships, challenge family norms, or find yourself at odds with co-workers or communities that once felt like home. This isn't a failure, it's evidence that you're changing. Nietzsche knew this path would be painful, but he saw the pain as necessary, even beautiful. Like a snake shedding its skin or a flame consuming the old to make way for the new, the pain of becoming yourself is the cost of real transformation. He invites you to stop running from that discomfort, to sit with your contradictions, to wrestle with your doubts, to confront your inner demons, not as enemies but as teachers. He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. Your journey will be dark at times, but if you remain aware, conscious, and willing, you emerge not broken, but reborn. You'll discover a self that is resilient, autonomous, and deeply alive, a self forged not by what others wanted you to be, but by what you dared to become. You cannot claim to have lived until you've faced yourself fully, until you've chosen, moment by moment, to walk your own road. It will be unlike any other, because no one else can walk it for you. That path is your privilege, it is your responsibility, and it is yours alone. Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." For most of history, humans found their why in religion, the divine assigned purpose. Life had meaning because God said it did. But Nietzsche challenged this assumption. In a world growing more secular and scientific, he saw a crisis looming. What happens when the old sources of meaning fade away? Without a divine blueprint, Nietzsche feared many would descend into nihilism, the belief that life has no inherent value. And yet, rather than mourn this loss, he saw it as an opportunity. Without external authority, we must become the authors of our own meaning. But how? Nietzsche offered 3 strategies. First, turn to the humanities. Nietzsche believed that art, philosophy, literature, and music could fill the void left by religion. These expressions of the human spirit don't just entertain, they elevate. They help us understand ourselves and others. They allow us to find beauty in tragedy, sight in suffering, and depth in the mundane. Reading history, for instance, shouldn't just be about dates. It should be about understanding the inner struggles of people who came before you. Watching a tragic play isn't just entertainment, it's a mirror into the human soul. The humanities give us a framework to reflect, to feel, and to grow. They don't tell us what to believe, but they teach us how to think and feel more deeply. Second, strive to become the Übermensch. The Übermensch, or superhuman, was Nietzsche's vision of the ideal person, someone who creates their own values, lives with authenticity, and refuses to be defined by the crowd. The Übermensch isn't about being superior to others. It's about being superior to your former self. It's about constantly evolving, constantly questioning, and constantly choosing meaning, your meaning, over imitation. Nietzsche believed that very few achieve this level of independence. Historical figures like Julius Caesar, Napoleon, the Buddha, and Goethe came close, but he also believed that each of us carries the potential to move toward it. To begin, you must examine your desires. Ask yourself, do I truly value this, or do I just want it because I've been told I should? What are you chasing, and why? By stripping away borrowed beliefs, you clear the space to build something authentic. That's the beginning of your own personal philosophy, a compass that only you can follow. Third, embrace amor fati, the love of fate. Amor fati is one of Nietzsche's most beautiful and practical ideas. It means loving your fate, not tolerating it, not enduring it, loving it. To love your fate is to see everything that has happened, not just the joys, but the failures, the traumas, the regrets, as essential parts of who you are. It's not about pretending bad things are good. It's about recognizing that even the worst experiences shaped your strength, your empathy, your story. When you accept your past completely, you stop resisting the present. You free yourself from shame, resentment, and victimhood. And that gives you the power to shape your future. You become someone who doesn't crumble in the face of difficulty because you've already made peace with the fact that meaning is found in the struggle, whether through art, through self-invention, or through radical acceptance. Nietzsche believed the goal was the same: to say yes to life, fully, completely, without condition, to say yes to what gives you meaning, even if no one else understands it, is the most courageous thing you can do. Nietzsche posed a powerful thought experiment. What if a demon crept into your loneliest moment and said, "This life as you live it now, you must live again and again and again, forever"? Would you bless the demon or curse him? This idea, known as eternal recurrence, challenges you to ask a radical question. If you had to live this exact life over and over, would you choose it? If your answer is no, then something needs to change. Nietzsche believed that most people live by values. They've never questioned. They inherit their beliefs from culture, religion, media, family, absorbing standards without ever asking whether those standards are truly their own. He called this burden the greatest weight. It's the emotional toll of living a life, scripted by others, repeating patterns that don't serve you, and silencing the part of you that longs to be free. To lift that weight, you must do the hard work of re-evaluating your values. Ask yourself, am I living by truth or by fear? Are the things I prioritize actually important to me, or are they just convenient, expected, or familiar? That toxic relationship you keep excusing, that job that drains your spirit, that habit you defend only because it's what people do. These aren't mistakes, they're signs. They reveal where you're out of alignment with your core self. Nietzsche argued that real freedom comes only when you create your own values, not borrowed, not recycled, yours. That doesn't mean rejecting all rules or traditions, but it does mean building a personal code based on authenticity, not obligation. This process takes courage. You might have to let go of relationships. You may disappoint people. You'll probably feel lost at times, but that is the price of becoming free. Start small. Make a list of the things and people that limit your ability to be yourself. It could be an outdated family belief, an unspoken rule at work, a partner who constantly criticizes you, or a friend group that shames your growth. Then strategize. Can you have a conversation? Set a boundary? Make a change? You don't need to. Destroy everything overnight. Nietzsche wasn't advocating for chaos. He was advocating for clarity, for intention, for the bravery to say, this is who I am, and this is how I will live. Breaking away from the herd doesn't always require a roar. Sometimes all it takes is a quiet, confident no. No to guilt, no to conformity, no to inherited limits, because in that no, you unlock your most powerful yes. Yes to freedom. Yes to truth. Yes to yourself. Conclusion. The rebellion. Within, most people live in cages of their own making, built from societal expectations, childhood conditioning, and the fear of being different. Nietzsche invites you to break the lock, to question the rules, to choose meaning over obedience, to become who you are, not who you were told to be. This isn't easy, it never has been, but it is necessary, because the cost of staying hidden, small and silent is far greater than the cost of stepping into the wild unknown. Your individuality is not a problem to be solved. It is a light to be kindled. So begin the rebellion, not against others, but against every false belief within you. The herd will not understand. That's okay. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be free. If you found meaning, in this video, we invite you to explore the full Psyche Project channel. For more deep insights into ancient wisdom and modern purpose, don't forget to subscribe. Watch to unlock Nietzsche's guide to inner strength. See you in the next video.